Good morning, dear children. Today we will read the lesson The Cyclops. This lesson is about the great Greek king Ulysses and his adventures at sea. You must have read about him in your previous class. In this lesson, we will find out how Ulysses bravely faced Cyclops. Cyclops is a huge demon who had only one eye. So let us read how Ulysses his encounter with Cyclops. The Greek kings found a rich treasure and shared it. They then set sail for home, but Ulysses and his men got lost. After 2 weeks at sea, they landed on an island. All they had left to drink was some wine which they took with them. At the top of a cliff, they found a cave. Huge cheeses and buckets of milk were in it. The men called out, but no one answered. Let's go in and eat now, suggested Ulysses. Then we will wait for the owner. A shadow fell on the men as they ate. They looked up and saw a one-eyed giant, a Cyclops. So, before we start studying this lesson, I would like to tell you that Ulysses and the other Greek kings, they were on a voyage in the sea, and there they have met many adventures. So one adventure which is there was with Cyclops. Now here the lesson starts that Greek kings, they found some rich treasure, they found a lot of wealth, and then they shared it among themselves. So when they were there on a voyage at the sea, they found some treasure and they shared it among themselves. Then after that, all the kings started sailing to their home. Everybody started going to their home. But when they were returning to their home, Ulysses and some of his men, they lost the way in the sea. Now for 2 weeks they were wandering here and there, and after wandering for 2 weeks they landed on an island. They found an island, and after 2 weeks they were only have left with them was some wine to drink. They have kept some eatables with them, some drinks with them, but because they were wandering here and there for 2 weeks in the ocean, so they consume everything and only some wine was left with them. Now, when they reached the island, they saw that there is a rock, and on the top of that rock there is a cave. So they decided to go to that cave. When they entered that cave, they find out that there were huge pieces of cheese there and a lot of milk. Buckets full of milk were lying there in the cave. Now, when they saw that some eatables are there in the cave, so the king and his men, they decided to call out to ask if somebody is there or not. And they called out, but nobody gave an answer. So that means either nobody lives there, or the person who is the owner of the cave, he is out of the cave right now. So Ulysses suggested that we should right now go inside, we will eat something, and then we will wait for the owner that he will come. So when they were inside the cave and they were eating, Ulysses and his men, when they were eating the cheese, they were drinking the milk, suddenly at that time a huge shadow of a demon, of a devil, fall on Ulysses and his men when they were eating the cheese. Now, when they looked up that who is there, they saw that it is a cyclope. Cyclope is a kind of a demon, or you can say devil, who's very huge, who's very large, and He has only one eye. So when they were eating the cheese, they met a cyclops. He drove his sheep into the cave and rolled a rock across the entrance, blocking them in. His one enormous eye glared at the Greeks. "Who are you?" he roared. The Cyclops snatched up two men. He crushed them in his fists and ate them both. Then the Cyclops gave a loud burp, lay down, and went to sleep. The men begged Ulysses to kill him before he ate them too. "No," said their wise king, "if I kill him, who will move that heavy rock and set us free?" The next morning the Cyclops went out of the cave. He moved the heavy rock back into its place, trapping the man inside. Ulysses and his men had to think fast. When the Cyclops returned, Ulysses offered him some wine. "What is your name?" asked the Cyclops. So now what happened? Um, a Cyclope entered the cave when Ulysses and his men were relishing the cheese and the milk. Now this Cyclope, he drove all his sheep inside the cave, and then he put a huge rock, a piece of rock on the entrance, on the gate of the cave, and then he blocked everybody inside. Now when the Greek soldiers and the Greek king, when they saw that man, that devil, the Cyclops, they saw that he's very enormous. Enormous means large. He's very large, and his large eye also glared. Glared means shine. It is shining there inside the cave. Now the Cyclops roared. He cried loudly, "Who are you?" And by us after asking this, Cyclops took two men in his hand, he crushed them in his fist, and he ate those men. After eating two men, the Cyclops gave a loud burp. Burp is when we eat something, then some air comes from our throat and we make a loud noise after eating. That is known as burp. So he, after eating two men, he gave a loud burp and then he lied down and then he went to sleep. Now, the soldiers of Ulysses, they requested Ulysses to kill the Cyclops because they knew that Ulysses is very brave. So he asked Ulysses to kill the Cyclops before he will start eating everybody and all of them will die. But Ulysses said no. And what the reason he gave is, he said that if I will kill him right now, then there is a very heavy rock at the entrance, at the gate of the cave. Then who will move that rock and who will make us free? So the next morning when the Cyclops, he went out of the cave, he again put that heavy rock on the entrance of the cave, and again Ulysses and his men were trapped inside the cave. Now, till the Cyclops was out of the cave, Ulysses and his men had to think of some plan very quickly. So while the Cyclops was outside, Ulysses and his men thought of a plan. So after a while, when Cyclops returned, Ulysses offered him some wine. Ulysses gave him some wine. So the Cyclops was very happy that he is offering me wine. So he asked Ulysses, "What's your name?" So here in this video, we are going to cover up only this. The remaining part we are going to study in the next video. Hope you have understood the video. Thank you very much. Have a good day.